You know exercise is important, but when you look online, there are just too many options. Cardio, strength training, flexibility, balance work. It can feel overwhelming, especially when you're over 70 and your body doesn't respond the way it used to. I remember when my friend Martha, who just turned 75, told me she gave up on exercise altogether because she couldn't keep up with the complicated routines her younger instructor was teaching. "I just don't have the energy to learn 20 different exercises," she said. "And honestly, I'm not sure which ones are even safe for me anymore." If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. And here's the good news. You don't need a complicated fitness regimen to stay healthy and mobile as you age. In fact, research shows that most seniors can get tremendous benefits from just 3 key exercises. That's right, just 3. Today, I'm going to share the only 3 exercises people over 70 actually need to maintain strength, balance, and mobility. I've been working with seniors for over 20 years, and I've seen firsthand how simplifying your fitness routine not only makes it more doable, but often leads to better results. Why? Because when something is simple, you're more likely to stick with it, and consistency is far more important than complexity when it comes to fitness at our age. Now, before we dive in, I want to emphasize that while these exercises are generally safe for most seniors, it's always important to check with your doctor before starting any new fitness routine, especially if you have existing health conditions. And remember, we're not trying to become Olympic athletes here. We're focusing on functional fitness that helps us live our best lives. Let's start with the first essential exercise, the sit to stand. This might sound incredibly simple, but it's actually one of the most functional movements we perform every day. Think about it. How many times do you stand up from a chair or sit down throughout your day? Probably dozens, right? And as we age, this seemingly simple movement becomes more challenging and critically important for maintaining independence. Here's how to do it properly. Start by sitting in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Your knees should be bent at about 90 degrees. Place your hands lightly on your thighs or on the sides of the chair if you need more support. Now lean forward slightly from your hips. This is important, and push through your heels to stand up. Try to use your leg muscles rather than pushing up with your hands if possible. Once you're standing tall, slowly lower yourself back down to the seated position by bending at your knees and hips. That's 1 repetition. When you're first starting out, aim for 5 to 10 repetitions and gradually work your way up to 15 to 20. You can do this exercise once or twice a day. Now you might be wondering, how can something so simple really make a difference? Well, the sit to stand exercise works multiple muscle groups simultaneously. It strengthens your quadriceps. Those are the muscles in the front of your thighs, as well as your glutes, which are your buttock muscles, and your core. These are precisely the muscles you need for everyday activities like getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or getting in and out of a car. I've seen remarkable improvements in my clients who practice this exercise regularly. Take George, for instance. At 82, he was having trouble getting up from his favorite armchair without using the armrests. After just 6 weeks of practicing the sit-to-stand exercise daily, he could rise from his chair using just his leg strength. This might seem like a small victory, but for George, it meant regaining a piece of his independence. What I love about the sit-to-stand exercise is that you can easily modify it based on your fitness level. If you're just starting out or have balance concerns, use a chair with armrests and place it against a wall for stability. You can use your hands for support as needed. As you get stronger, try using less arm support, and eventually you might be able to cross your arms over your chest while performing the movement. For those who find this exercise too easy, you can make it more challenging by lowering yourself to the chair more slowly, taking about 4 seconds to sit down. This increases the time your muscles are under tension, which helps build strength more effectively. Another way to increase the challenge is to use a lower chair or seat, which requires more strength to stand up from. One important tip: focus on your form rather than how many repetitions you can do. Quality always trumps quantity, especially as we age. Make sure you're not leaning too far forward when standing up, as this can strain your back. Instead, think about pushing your weight through your heels and keeping your chest lifted. The beauty of the sit-to-stand exercise is that you can incorporate it naturally into your day. Every time you sit down or stand up, you have an opportunity to practice proper form and strengthen those important muscles. I often tell my clients to do a few extra sit-to-stands before dinner or during commercial breaks, when watching TV. Now, let's talk about why this exercise is particularly beneficial for people over 70. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia. This loss accelerates after age 70 if we're not actively working to maintain our strength. The sit-to-stand exercise directly combats this loss by targeting the large muscle groups in our lower body, which are crucial for mobility and independence. Additionally, this exercise helps improve balance and reduce the risk of falls, which is a major concern for many seniors. By strengthening the muscles used in standing and sitting, you're essentially practicing a controlled fall and recovery with each repetition, training your body to maintain stability during these transitions. Now that we've covered the sit-to-stand exercise, let's move on to our second essential exercise, the wall push-up. This is a fantastic upper body strengthener that's much safer and more accessible than traditional floor push-ups, especially for those of us. Upper body strength is something many seniors neglect, but it's crucial for everyday activities like carrying groceries, lifting grandchildren, or pushing yourself up from bed. The wall push-up specifically targets your chest, shoulders, and arms, all muscles that help maintain your independence and ability to perform daily tasks with ease. To perform a wall push-up, start by standing facing a wall, about arm's length away. Place your palms flat against the wall at shoulder height and shoulder width apart. Your feet should be hip width apart, providing a stable base. Now bend your elbows and slowly lean your body toward the wall, keeping your back straight, no sagging or arching. Think of your body as a straight plank from head to heels. Once your nose is close to the wall, push back to the starting position by straightening your arms. That's one repetition. When you're first starting out, aim for 8 to 10 repetitions and gradually work up to 15 to 20. You can do this exercise once or twice a day. What I love about wall push-ups is how easily they can be modified to match your strength level. If you're finding them too easy, you can increase the challenge by moving your feet farther away from the wall. The greater the distance, the more body weight you'll be pushing. Conversely, if they're too difficult, simply move your feet closer to the wall. I had a client named Dorothy who started doing wall push-ups at 78. She initially could only do 3 or 4 before her arms got tired, but she was persistent, doing them every morning while waiting for her coffee to brew. Within 3 months, she was doing sets of 15 with her feet farther from the wall than when she started. The real victory came when her 5-year-old great-grandson asked her to pick him up, and she did so with confidence and without strain. Wall push-ups also provide benefits beyond just strength. They help maintain bone density in your arms, wrists, and hands, areas particularly vulnerable to osteoporosis in older women. The pushing motion also stretches your chest muscles, which can help counteract the rounded shoulder posture many of us develop as we age from activities like reading, using computers, or watching television. One important tip when doing wall push-ups: breathe. It's common to hold your breath during exertion, but this can raise your blood pressure temporarily. Instead, exhale as you push away from the wall and inhale as you lean in. This breathing pattern helps stabilize your core and makes the exercise more effective. You can easily incorporate wall push-ups into your daily routine. Perhaps do a set while waiting for water to boil in the kitchen, or after brushing your teeth in the bathroom. Any wall will do, making this exercise convenient no matter where you are. Now let's move on to our third and final essential exercise, the supported single leg stand. This exercise might seem deceptively simple, but it's incredibly powerful for improving balance, something that becomes increasingly important as we age. Did you know that 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls each year, and the risk increases significantly after 70? Falls can lead to serious injuries, like hip fractures, which can dramatically impact quality of life. The good news is that regular balance training can reduce your fall risk by up to 50%, according to research. The supported single leg stand is one of the most effective balance exercises you can do. Here's how to perform it safely. Stand next to a counter, sturdy chair, or wall that you can hold onto for support. Place your feet hip-width apart and engage your core muscles. Think about gently pulling your belly button toward your spine. Now shift your weight to your right foot and slowly lift your left foot off the ground, just an inch or two at first. Hold this position for 10-15 seconds, then switch to the other leg. As with our other exercises, start where you are comfortable. If 10 seconds seems too long at first, begin with 5 seconds and gradually increase your time. The goal is to eventually hold each position for 30 seconds and, as you progress, to rely less on the support of the counter or chair. I remember working with Harold, who was 83 and had already experienced 2 falls that year. He was skeptical that something as simple as standing on one foot could help, but he agreed to try it daily. We started with just 5 seconds of balancing while he held firmly onto his kitchen counter. After 6 weeks of consistent practice, he could balance for 20 seconds while just lightly touching the counter with one finger. More importantly, he reported feeling much more stable when walking, especially on uneven surfaces like his garden path. What makes the single leg stand so effective is that it forces your body to activate the small stabilizing muscles around your ankles, knees and hips that don't get used as much during regular walking or sitting. These muscles are critical for catching yourself if you trip or step on an uneven surface. Beyond fall prevention, this exercise helps improve your proprioception, your body's awareness of where it is in space. This sense tends to diminish with age, but it can be trained and improved, just like any other skill. To make this exercise more challenging as you progress, try these variations. First, once you can balance for 30 seconds with support, try balancing while just lightly touching the support with one finger. Next, try brief moments of no support at all, keeping your hands hovering near the support in case you need it. Eventually, you might work up to balancing with no support while slowly turning your head from side to side, a movement that challenges your balance system even further. One important safety note: always have your support within easy reach, and never practice unsupported balance exercises unless you're confident in your stability or have someone nearby to assist if needed. The beauty of these 3 exercises, the sit to stand, the wall push-up, and the supported single leg stand, is that together they address the most critical aspects of physical fitness for seniors: lower body strength, upper body strength, and balance. By focusing on these 3 areas, you're targeting the physical skills that most directly impact your ability to remain independent active. What's more, these exercises complement each other. The strength you build with sit-to-stands makes your single leg balance more stable. The improved posture from wall push-ups helps you maintain better alignment during both other exercises, and the enhanced balance from single leg stands makes you more confident in your movements overall. I've seen countless seniors transform their physical capabilities with just these 3 exercises. The key is consistency. You don't need to spend hours exercising or learn complicated routines. Just these 3 movements, performed regularly, can make a remarkable difference in how you feel and function. Now that we've covered each of our 3 essential exercises individually, let's talk about how to put them together into a simple, effective routine that you can actually stick with. Because let's be honest, the best exercise program is the one you'll actually do consistently. I recommend creating a daily routine that incorporates all 3 exercises. This doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. In fact, the entire routine can be completed in about 10-15 minutes. Here's a simple approach. Start with 10 sit-to-stands, followed by 10 wall push-ups, and finish with 15 to 30 seconds of balancing on each leg. Rest for a minute, then repeat the sequence 1 or 2 more times. That's it. Just 10-15 minutes a day can make a tremendous difference in your strength, balance, and overall mobility. And the best part? You don't need any special equipment or a gym membership. These exercises can be done right in your living room or kitchen. Many of my clients find it helpful to attach this routine to something they already do every day. For instance, you might do your exercises right after breakfast while the morning news is on, or perhaps before dinner as a way to transition from your day to your evening. Finding a consistent time helps make exercise a habit rather than something you have to remember to do. Speaking of consistency, let's address one of the biggest challenges many seniors face with exercise: motivation. It's completely normal to have days when you just don't feel like exercising. We all do. On those days, I suggest using what I call the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you'll just do 5 minutes of exercise. That's all. Often, once you get started, you'll find you have the energy to complete your full routine. But even if you only do those 5 minutes, that's still better than nothing. Another motivation tip is to track your progress. Keep a simple calendar where you mark off each day you complete your exercises. Seeing those check marks add up can be incredibly motivating. You might also note improvements you notice. Perhaps you can do more repetitions, hold your balance longer, or notice everyday tasks becoming easier. Let me share a story about my client Elaine that illustrates the power of these simple exercises. Elaine came to me at 76 after her doctor told her she was at high risk for needing a walker within the next year if she didn't improve her strength and balance. She was devastated by this news. She had always been independent, and the thought of needing assistance to walk was frightening to her. We started with just these 3 exercises, modified to match her current abilities. In the beginning, she needed to use a higher chair with armrests for the sit-to-stands. Her wall push-ups were done with her feet quite close to the wall, and she could only balance on 1 foot for about 3 seconds while holding onto her kitchen counter. Elaine committed to doing these exercises every day, and she tracked her progress diligently. After 3 months, she returned to her doctor, who was astonished by her improvement. Not only had her risk factors decreased, but her overall mobility had improved significantly. She could now rise from a regular chair without using her arms, do proper wall push-ups, and balance on each foot for 20 seconds while only lightly touching the counter for support. 6 months later, Elaine called me with exciting news. She had joined a senior hiking group and was regularly walking nature trails, something she hadn't felt confident doing in years, all from 3 simple exercises done consistently. Now, I want to address a question I often hear. Isn't this too simple? Don't I need more exercises for a complete workout? It's a fair question. We're often told that more is better when it comes to exercise, but for adults over 70, these 3 exercises target the most critical aspects of fitness: lower body strength, upper body strength, and balance, the very abilities that keep you independent and active. That said, if you're already comfortable with these exercises and want to expand your routine, there are certainly ways to do so. Walking is an excellent addition for cardiovascular health. Gentle stretching can improve flexibility, and if you enjoy activities like swimming, dancing, or gardening, by all means continue them. These 3 core exercises provide a foundation that will make all your other activities safer and more enjoyable. Let's also talk about progression. As these exercises become easier, it's important to make them more challenging rather than just doing more repetitions. For the sit to stand, try using a lower chair or slowing down the movement. For wall push-ups, move your feet farther from the wall. And for the single leg stand, reduce your support or add head turns, as we discussed earlier. Remember, the goal isn't to rush through the exercises or to push yourself to exhaustion. Quality of movement is far more important than quantity, especially as we age. Focus on proper form, controlled movements, and steady breathing. I also want to emphasize the importance of listening to your body. Some muscle fatigue during exercise is normal and even beneficial. That's how we get stronger. But sharp pain, dizziness, or unusual shortness of breath are signals to stop and rest. Exercise should challenge you, but not cause pain or extreme discomfort. As we wrap up today's video, I want to leave you with this thought. Fitness after 70 doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need fancy equipment, expensive gym memberships, or complicated routine. These 3 simple exercises, the sit to stand, the wall push-up, and the supported single leg stand, can provide remarkable benefits when done consistently. I've seen these exercises transform lives, helping people maintain their independence, confidence, and joy well into their 80s and beyond. The key is to start where you are, be consistent, and celebrate your progress along the way. I'd love to hear about your experience with these exercises. Have you tried any of them before? Do you have questions about form or modifications? Please share in the comments below. Your insights might help another viewer who's just getting started. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more practical fitness advice for seniors. Remember, it's never too late to improve your strength and balance. Your body is remarkably adaptable at any age. Even small, consistent efforts can lead to significant improvements in how you feel and function. So why not start today? Just 10-15 minutes could be the beginning of a stronger, more confident you. Thank you for joining me today. Here's to your health, your independence, and living your best life at any age. I'll see you in the next video.